Okay, so my first question is, what do you believe is the importance of music and creativity when it comes to child development?
Okay. Well, let's start with brain development. There's a lot of people who spend their whole lifetime doing research on what effect does learning music and practicing music and playing with music have on brain development, not just to help the brain be able to do music, but to help the brain to do problem solving, to do critical thinking, to do math. Music, as we know, is based on mathematics. And so when children learn music, they're not just learning an art, but they're also doing something that helps their brain develop in ways that will help them throughout life. So music is viewed as a vehicle to accomplish brain development. Music also has the ability to teach us skills for life, what's referred to now as SEL, or social emotional learning. So for example, I'll just give one of many examples. One of the life skills I work with youth leaders and teachers a lot about is developing persistence in children. While you can't learn to play a musical instrument or to give a vocal performance without persistence, a good music program will not only be about producing the music, blowing the horn or strumming the guitar or singing the song, but about the process that it takes. So it's not what you learn, it's how you learn. So it's trying again when you don't hit the right notes. It's not starting from the very beginning when you get halfway through it and throwing it down in disgust and insulting yourself and saying, I'm stupid, I'll never learn this. Learning how to cope with stress, learning how to correct mistakes, all of those things you use every day. And music and art are just a couple of the examples of the things that we can use in order to teach the social skills that people need to have success and happiness in life. One of them, by the way, is joy. Youth development researchers, some of them have said that that's something that's missing from the 21st century young people's lives, and that it's very important that we teach them how to experience the joy of communicating artistically, whether through music or through art. So ask me the question again, please, the same question.
What do you believe is the importance of music and creativity when it comes to child development?
Yeah, okay. The word I want to talk a little bit more about is creativity. Music, and especially art, can be examples of ways to learn to be creative. I believe deeply that creativity is something that can be learned. It is a skill that can be practiced. And it's really important to find interesting ways for young people to practice. If you do it like a lesson, they will be less interested than if it's in the course of doing something that's fun for them. And so that's very important. One part of an even longer answer would also be to give you the example of teamwork and cooperation. When you are in a musical choir or when you're in a play, this teaches you all kinds of ways of collaborating with other people, and it may be about music, it may be about a variety show, but you learn how to work with others. And employers in the 21st century prize programs that prepare students to be future employees that know how to get along with people, whether you agree or not, people who are different than you, etc. So, of course, I can go on and on and on about all of the skills. There's a long list. There's hours worth of things to talk about. And the discussion would go, well, what do you want young people to learn? And then how do science, music, art, recreational activities, things like that, sports, how can you use each of these things to teach the target skills that are the object of youth development?
That's a great answer. That's
Thank you.
really amazing. And then my second question, really my main one, do you believe that music plays an important role at camp, and in what ways?
No, it's useless. At camp, oh my goodness, yes. Where do I start? Music is a time-honored way of building community. So, for example, when all of us know the words to a same song, and it's a song that we only sing at this camp, that's the way that you build community. Again, youth researchers have determined, and this makes common sense too, that young people who don't have a connection to some community get into trouble more than those who don't. And that makes sense, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. They're the ones who are arrested the most, the ones who end up abusing substances. You know, it's not a strict causal connection, but it's one of the obvious things. When people don't feel connected, they lack a purpose, they don't have positive peer relationships and things like that. So music, singing with others and sharing the songs that are about our culture or community is a wonderful way to build community, and that's very, very important. That's one reason it's important for a camp. The second reason is because of my first answer. I believe the mission of camp is to teach kids skills for life in a fun and in a safe and a loving environment. So one of the sets of tools that we use is to include as part of the program things like art and music and other things that help us create that kind of youth development. I think there's so many reasons why it's important. It creates a sense of ritual. You know, I guess that's part of my first answer, that the kind of traditions and rituals help build community, and so that's very important. I'll give you one more out of many. Music is one of those subjects, Hannah, where people will frequently say, I can't do it. Art is one of those examples. They say, I can't draw. No way I could draw. Kindergartners never say that. They can draw anything. Kindergartners will never say, I'd like to sing, but I'm frequently off key, but thank you for asking. Never say that. Never say that. What they do is they have an open mind and believe they can do anything. As we get older, not that much older, like, you know, first, second, third grade, we start getting grades and compared to our peers, and we start developing opinions that we can't do things. How sad that is. So one of the reasons I love music and art at camp is because they're an important example of kids trying things that they may not think they're good at and discovering that, you know, I don't need to be a master at this to be able to do it. A fast example of that is that people have found that music and art is a wonderful way of relaxing and experiencing joy and happiness and having some non-battery required time for yourself to enjoy life. Camp is a place where you can learn those kinds of habits, so that's very, very important.
That's great. And then my last question is, do you think would be beneficial to have young kids seeing young artists and musicians playing in a camp setting, kind of allowing kids to see these artists kind of live their dreams? Do you think that would be beneficial for them?
Absolutely. Sure. I think the discussion that occurs, other than just the performance, is very important. How long of a list as to reasons? I mean, well, first of all, people who choose to live in the arts, including my oldest son, David, who's 26. He got a degree in jazz percussion, and he's a professional drummer, and he also teaches 25 or 30 private students. He's trying to make a living in the arts, you know, just like people decide, I want to be a sculptor, I want to be a painter. Well, you know, I honor that, I admire that they're following their passion, and I acknowledge that what a heck of a way to try to make a living. It's, you know, it's hard enough to be an elementary school teacher, to be a folk guitarist, you know, lots of luck. I really admire people who stick with that. So these are admirable people I think young children should meet. I think that these are great role models for people. They're wonderful examples of following a dream, of not necessarily doing something because of how much money you'll make, but of how much satisfaction it brings you and other people. So I really believe in peer teaching, and so when a 14-year-old girl at camp sees a 18-year-old young lady who wants to, you know, learn how to be a professional musician, those are great relationships to foster. Those are great conversations to have. Also, let's circle to the first answer. These are people who've learned persistence. They've learned how to handle mistakes. They've learned the discipline of practice and rehearsal. So there's a lot for them to talk to younger people and campers about that will help them in their life, but they can use the hook of music, which is cool for kids, or the hook of art, which is cool for kids. If you just had them come in and lecture, you know, and say, hey, young people, let me tell you what I've learned about the importance of, you know, rehearsal and practice, it, nobody wants to hear that. But if they come in and teach kids, you know, songs, or they teach them how to bang on tin cans and do percussion or buckets or things like that, it's fun. And in the course of having the fun, discussion can be had about these kinds of social skills and passions and joys. Yeah, I often wonder, you know, I'm a fan of jazz music. Well, that's not extremely popular among most young people. So what's going to happen to it? What's going to happen to classical music? What's going to happen to folk music? When I went to camp, the songs that were sung by Peter, Paul, and Mary, just to name one example, the Weavers, which was a very famous folk group from my dinosaur days, even before my dinosaur days. What will happen? Well, I tell you what, there aren't a lot of camps where their songs are still sung. They have lip syncing contests to people, you know, like Katy Perry and things like that, and Lady Gaga. And it's not that there's something wrong with that, but that's just one style of music. And I would like other styles to live on. I think people should learn about great paintings and not so great paintings and different kinds of art. And I think they should dabble in it. And I think this is a great way for them to see young people, or not so young people, who are passionate about the arts. And I think that's something the world really needs. Where will the future supporters of the arts come from? You know, if I'm a camper and I choose not to learn guitar, I choose not to take up painting as a hobby, but I appreciate it. That's like music appreciation, art appreciation. It's fabulous, because those are the people in a community who will support their local library that has music programs for the community and things like that, and our communities need that.
That's really great. Thank you so much for your time. And that was just amazing. That was more than I could ever hope for, so thank you.
What do you believe is the importance of music and creativity when it comes to childhood development?
Well, music being a way for people to express themselves in a creative way. I think as an art person, someone who appreciates art and different aspects of art, self-expression, music is an important part of that. So as a toddler teacher, I think every day, if I open the center, I play music to welcome them and to have them, you know, either based on my mood and kind of the mood of the room. You know, I may change the type of music it is, but I love to play a variety, and it's a way for them to it promotes movement. It develops skills as far as rhythm and dance and instruments, and it's an outlet for energy. And so camp, also working at camp, I've had campers who, and that's their connection to people, is if they might be quiet when music isn't being played, and they're more closed. But the second we have like video music award night or just a dance party, you see a part of them that you haven't. They were closed before. Music opens people up and allows them to feel comfortable and connect with people. And often, if they're invited to be a part of it, it allows them to shine and bring out their creativity. And so to have that in any environment, I think music is a tool for expression, for creativity. So I think in any environment, it's an important piece.
Well, that's great. Do you think having new, relatively unknown young artists and musicians playing for kids in a camp setting will help them grow as their own person?
Yes. Well, because I think if they see, because they see famous people on TV all the time, and musicians, and while they may look up to them and know all their music, to have to see people who are closer to their age that are new to them, it gives them the idea that that's something that they could do and attain. and it's an encouraging thing. It's something that allows them to see, wait, if this is something that I love to do, it inspires them.
That's really all I had, so thank you.